Looking back at the events of the disengagement, you're mentioning today that it was traumatic for you. Why is that?
Terribly. I've been in the Israeli army for about 35 years. I was a paratrooper throughout most of it, participated in Israel's war, and there was no single event that I participated in my military capacity that was more traumatic than the disengagement.
This is while in the disengagement you weren't out there on the field, you weren't in combat at all.
This was worse than combat, that's what I'm saying. It was actually worse than combat. And I've been in some pretty intense combat. This is worse. The actual notion of taking Jews out of their houses while they're screaming, while they're crying, while we're praying to God, was something that was deeply disturbing to me and remains so to this day.
What was your role back then?
Well, I had been, after I finished my combat service, because I had been very much involved in the media, the Army asked me to sign on for another 10 years in the Army spokesman's office. So I was in charge of the internal work, the internal operation between the Israeli Army and the international media. There was a tremendous amount of media coverage of this.
You're saying that it's traumatic, but do you also regret? Do you regret the fact that maybe you didn't get up and say, "I can't be part of this"?
No, I don't regret that. I think that the cornerstone of this country is its democratic government, and the fact that the army it carries out the instructions of a democratically elected government. And there are many times when as soldiers, or I can even say as an ambassador, there may have been issues that I disagreed with, but I carried them out because that is the will of the Israeli people. That was the will of the Israeli people at the time. Having said that, though, there were many and egregious mistakes made in the disengagement, from the conceptual to the implementation stage. Just to give you one example, in the half year after Israel pulled out of Gaza, terrorists fired 1,000 rockets at us, and we didn't return fire once. So what did the terrorists internalize? That you can shoot at Israel and get away with it.